All right, Happy Gilmore 2. I just watched this last night, and I'll be honest with you, this far exceeded my expectations for a 2025 comedy made by Netflix. Of course, you had Happy Madison in there as well as Adam Sandler, so I guess this was more of a recipe for success, but I really thought that this movie was funny. I thought it was actually a very good movie. Thought it was one of those perfect cult classic comedies that we used to see when we were growing up, where you just turn your brain off and you just hang on to each joke that you see. There were definitely a lot of standouts in this movie. I love how at the beginning you're thinking that it's going to be this whole family ordeal, and you meet his wife and she's all grown up and everything. I mean, they're all grown up. And they've got 4 kids, or 4 boys and 1 daughter, and everything like that. And then immediately she just catches a line drive to the face and gets murdered by her husband, or I guess manslaughtered by her husband. You're like, oh, okay, great. And then we have this funny reoccurring joke throughout the movie, but really at the beginning, where Happy's an alcoholic, and everything that he takes with him or anything that he has in his hand, he just unscrews a cap and starts drinking from it. I thought that was a pretty funny recurring joke. Obviously, this movie was cameo porn. I mean, more cameos than one of those stupid MCU movies where everybody's like losing their mind. Like, oh my god, Loki's here. I can't fucking believe it. That was me last night. I kept doing that Leo meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where I'm like, oh. I'm like pointing at the fucking screen. You know, you had so many people, but I really think that this movie, like, of course, it's a feel-good comedy. You can kind of guess where the plot is going in a lot of the instances. Okay, he's going to have to come back from retirement because there's this big problem. He wants to send his daughter to ballet school and things like that. So you can kind of guess where it's going. He'll go back into golf. He'll probably win, you know, things of that nature. But I do like the curveballs that they threw at us. Obviously, with his wife dying, we see Shooter is in a mental institution after losing his mind, after losing the golf tournament for, you know, and he's in a mental institution for like 30 years, and they finally let him out, and you think to yourself, oh, this guy's going to be the villain. He's going to come back, and there's this whole other league that they're trying to start, so Shooter's going to join this league, but instead, he actually ends up joining Happy's side. They have a little fight in a graveyard where they throw back to some nostalgia from the first movie. And then, and then Shooter ends up becoming his friend, and he ends up like coaching the team, which consists of these incredibly famous golfers. Now, I'm not a golf guy, but I knew some of these guys' names. I just didn't know what they looked like. They all kind of looked the same, all these professional golfers. But it was crazy that they had these people in for such a long time that they joked about their issues and things of that nature. One of the guys, I think, got arrested for assaulting a police officer in real life, and he gets arrested on the course, and he's like, no, not again. And like the cops are coming up. I thought that was really, really funny, how everybody just didn't take themselves serious in this movie. I will say, Bad Bunny in this movie playing Oscar, the waiter slash caddy slash ride or die towards the end, absolutely incredible. I want to see Bad Bunny in more comedies. He was so good, and I didn't even realize it was Bad Bunny, as I think I've only ever seen him once, and I don't think he looked like that. And then my girlfriend pointed it out. She's like, no, I'm pretty sure that is Bad Bunny. Let me look it up. She looks it up, and sure enough, it was. I thought that Travis Kelce was funny in it, you know, being the dickhead waiter and, like, chucking or I guess, like, body checking a couple of the pros and, like, slamming them into a table and freaking out, you know, and stuff like that. It was funny how they kind of, like, broke the fourth wall of who these people actually were. Post Malone really just played himself in this movie, but I did like his role as small that it was. And the same thing with Eminem. As Eminem is getting eaten by a bunch of sharks, he's screaming out, or sharks, by a bunch of alligators, he's screaming out, Detroit, motherfucker, Detroit. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be this guy's son. He's supposed to be the jackass guy's son. And, you know, he he ends up just kind of breaking character and just going back into himself. So I thought the cameos were hilarious. I think that everybody that they put in, where they put them, was so good. Guy Fieri, so funny to just have him show up for like 10 minutes, and obviously he would definitely be the host of this new golf league. And, you know, it's sort of one of those things where we face the problem pretty early on in the movie. And then throughout the time that you're going on, it's sort of just filling you with these different things that are happening for a bunch of funny moments that you can see throughout the movie. So I thought that was good. But like I said, you can sort of see where the plot is going. I obviously knew there gets to a point when they're playing a tournament and he has to end in the top 5 to go and verse all of these other new golfers in this new golf league. I knew he was going to be in the top 5. He ends up getting 6th place. And then, you know, you're thinking, okay, well, he's still going to get in the top 5 somehow. And come to find out, one of the guys in the top 5 actually played for the other team. So then he gets to join the team and go against these, you know, new age freaks that have had a surgery to cut some ligaments so that they can just hammer the ball like 900 yards, which I think was very, very funny. I like how they implemented that, how they, like, you know, kind of made it a little bit more sinister. Like, oh yeah, we're genetically modifying these athletes to be able to hit the ball like Happy. I thought that was very, very funny. And of course, you know, you do get some Deus Ex Machina at the end. Anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's sort of like at the end of a movie, or let's say that you're playing a video game with someone and they've beat you 30 times in a row. And you say, hey, next round wins, and then you win that. And then, by the way, if I win this, you have to solve every single one of my problems. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And then they do. That's sort of Deus Ex Machina. At the very end, you know, he's spinning around on this platform, and the owner of the new golf league is saying to him, you know, if you make this putt, then I forget what he says. He's like, if you make this putt, then I'll completely end my league now. That's what it was. And Happy's like, yeah, sure, you can end your league. And also, I need you to send my daughter to ballet school. I need you to buy back my grandma's house. And I want your Rolls Royce. It's like all the things that he needed. He's just like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, so I knew obviously it was going to go that way. At the end. And I did think that it was funny how they were just like kind of cheating these like broken rules on this new league. The other team was just messing around with all the rules and nobody said anything because it was interesting to watch. I thought that was good. I thought the plot of this movie really stuck out for itself. At the beginning, I was worried that it was going to be too many flashbacks to the old movie, but I actually did really like the choice to do these flashbacks and the way that they did them. I thought that it really gave it this, like, you know, you're seeing it, and we didn't watch the movie, the first movie, before we watched this movie. So you're seeing people and you're going, oh, I can't remember who this guy is. This is the IRS guy. And he goes, you know, now you're really going to hate me. And it shows that clip of him getting thrown through the glass window in the first Happy Gilmore. And you're like, oh my God, that's him. And so it really just hits you right in that moment. So I did actually think that they did a great job with that. I thought that they did a great job of bringing Ben Stiller back in and having him still be a sinister, dark character. You know, I know obviously his character was funny in the first one and is funny in this one too. But the whole point of his character is that, like, he's this asshole, like, control freak that completely makes his grandma's life worse than hell, basically. And and then he ends up leading this Alcoholics Anonymous thing where he just uses them for slave labor, basically, and then tempts them to drink as much as possible. Very, very funny. I thought that everybody that wrote these, like, roles for different people, just, they were in their bag. They knew exactly what they should do. John Daly in this movie was hilarious. I really wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, obviously all the cameos I really wasn't expecting. But John Daly being like a part of the family, being like a running gag that he's kind of like a dog. Like, you know, feed John Daly 3 times a day or else he gets, you know, cranky or whatever. I thought that was great having him in there. And he really is. I mean, he's like obviously a legendary golfer, but he's kind of showing that, you know, what Adam Sandler was at the beginning of this movie, this alcoholic and things of that nature, but, you know, he can actually golf when he's an alcoholic. So I thought that it was very good, as well as far as a legacy comedy goes for a movie that was made 30 years ago to get a sequel. I really think that they did the best that they could do with this movie. If you're watching this movie with too much of a critical eye, you're dumb. You need to just turn your brain off and just be stupid for a little bit. Laugh at all these silly jokes. Really enjoy the cameos. get surprised when you see somebody do something crazy, and just enjoy the way that we used to enjoy comedies in the early 2000s, in the 90s, and things of that nature. I feel like the comedy genre is dying, which is also why I'm very excited for The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, and I hope that's really good. Because that's just not what happened. There's no blockbuster comedies anymore. There's nobody just taking a movie like Dodgeball and being like, you know what would be funny? We make a movie about grown men playing dodgeball. And that's the end of the pitch. And then you work from there. That doesn't really happen that much anymore. You know, we obviously have, I think, Clerks coming out. It's a Theo Von and David Spade movie. Or not Clerks, Bus Boys. Clerks is a comedy from a long ass time ago. Bus Boys coming out with them, and they're trying to get that back. There's also another one with, I think, Aziz Ansari coming out as well. So maybe we are seeing a second, life breathed into these comedy movies. And I want to see that. I want to see more of that. So I thought that this was a breath of fresh air. It really did not hang on the fact that we're in 2025. It felt like I was watching something from the 2000s, something from the 2010s. And I thought that that was great, very tastefully done. And I hope this movie is very successful. I really can't believe they didn't put this movie in theaters. I would have loved to see this movie in theaters much more than Eddington. I hope that Eddington, is never seen by anybody ever again. I hope they burn it to the ground. That movie is absolutely dog water, and if you like that movie, your opinion is wrong. But regardless, that's my review on Happy Gilmore. I'm going to go ahead and give it... Now listen, just because this is a comedy movie, this is going to go into a little bit of a different ranking scale. Like, yes, I did rate the Phoenician Scheme a 7.4, but the Phoenician Scheme is ranked on a different scale when it comes to, that movie was a funny movie, but it was also had all of these other different elements to it. This is just a very funny movie. The premise is very easy to understand. The plot is very easy to guess where it goes. Even if you're not trying, you can kind of figure out where it's going. As far as comedy movies go, made in the modern era, I thought that this was great, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.7 for Happy Gilmore. Really enjoyed it. Very good movie. And yeah, that's it.